Well, joining me now for an agenda setting for Nigeria's new housing minister to bridge the growing housing deficit is Nmadili Okwumabua. She's Director of Community Planning and Design Initiative Africa. Thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you on Newsnight tonight.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so let's talk about, maybe we should even begin by a quick assessment of the former housing minister's performance. I mean, some actually describe his tenure as being marked by, strong policy articulation, but uneven execution. Let's start from there.
So I would say that the effort has, it's been strong, but I think that a lot of the issues that we face is the disparity between those who we're providing for, whether it's the wealthy, the middle class, or the the lower income owners.
Right.
And that's just been the challenge. How do we evaluate that kind of progress? Who are those who are really benefiting from the policies that he was promoting? Yes.
And that's an interesting point. Ordinarily, who should we be directing our housing policy towards? Should it be across board, or should it be for the lowest income Nigerians? I mean, for a population of 230 million Nigerians, we keep hearing about figures being bandied. Some would say 14 million housing deficit and what have you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It should be for everyone, for every single Nigerian. That includes you and I, right? It includes all of us.
On paper.
Well,
should.
and definitely in reality. When I think about what the average Nigerian is actually earning, what's the housing policy for someone who is earning 100,000 naira?
There you go.
Yes. Yeah. What kind of rent or mortgage can you pay? And we say that we actually want to provide housing for every single Nigerian. So we really have to be cognizant of that. So making those plans going forward as the new minister is coming in, how do we truly address that? Public, private relationships. But then for me, I feel it's really important for us to harness some of the systems that we applied in traditional times.
Which would be?
So, for example, land actually being owned by the people.
Right.
Right? You don't monetize land, really. And in an economy like this, where people are finding it very difficult to earn money, how do you acquire land? That's the first thing. Right. Second thing, materials. We truly have to standardize our own local materials so that we can reduce those costs, because back in the day, we used materials that were available
locally available.
Then the labor. In our culture as Nigerians, as Africans, it was actually in our culture to come together to help each other to build our houses.
Communal housing.
Yes. Community effort, sweat equity. If it's time for a young man to start a family, he calls his family and friends to help him to build. It wasn't monetized. So how can we bring in some of those old ideas
to modern
times?
Right.
Yes.
How do we do that? Is it even possible?
It's very possible. First of all, we start teaching it in schools. We start reprogramming our minds in school. Second, there are other associations around the world that are doing these things, something like Habitat for Humanity, Fuller Center for Housing. They actually get land allocations, and then the homeowners who come to buy those homes, they are required to participate in the construction of that house. So you have to put in your own sweat equity to be able to have a house in that estate. So we can't have people walking around saying that we can't find jobs, that's why I'm homeless, or that's why I'm having to squat or live in an abandoned building.
Or been working for 30 years and unable to buy land, how much more build?
That's another conversation. Exactly.
Okay, we'll come back to this conversation, very important one, when we come back from this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. I have with me Nmadili Okwumabua. He's Director of Community Planning and Design Initiative Africa, CPDI. We're talking about housing in Nigeria. Can we come up with a way forward in a way that the new, housing minister can actually run with it? Thank you very much for the points that you raised there. But when you consider the fact that housing and urban development budget in 2026 got about 105 billion naira, What does that tell you about government's focus and priority when it comes to housing for every Nigerian, that you say every Nigerian, should
it needs to be increased.
Beneficiary?
We need more funds put towards urban planning, affordable housing, development. We definitely do. But Nigeria has land.
Right.
So the first thing, yes. People a lot of times say, like outside, they say architecture is defined when you go up, high rises. It's because they don't have much space. We actually have space in Nigeria or in Africa. So the first thing is make that land available, accessible. Put a few more funds, definitely, into the budget. Everyone needs housing, those who are wealthy and those who need assistance. Right. So the budget needs to be increased. And then we have to be intentional about using that money for what it was earmarked for. That is it.
The intentionality seems to be what's lacking.
Yes.
There are calls for land reform. I mean, still staying on the issue of land that you talk about, to encourage private sector participation. In Nigeria, private sector seems to have really done a lot in closing the gap, in providing housing.
Yes.
How can government be deliberate in terms of policy to make it easier for developers, for private sector to
give the developers more incentives, reduce those costs for us. First of all, land, assist us in factories and innovative spaces where we are modernizing our own local materials. Give us tax breaks. Right. Give developers incentives for providing housing. Like I was thinking about, Renewed Hope project.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about a lot of my workers.
Renewed Hope housing scheme actually has about 8 billion naira allotted to it.
Yes.
At least for 2026.
Yes. Several cities are supposed to be built, and estates, and there's social housing. It's a good step in the right direction. But like you said, there are how many hundreds of millions of Nigerians? We have to meet those quotas. So state by state, local government by local government, we have to be focused on providing that enabling environment. How do you give landlords incentives? So a wealthy person is able to acquire land, he builds the building, and he puts it up for rent. Right. Every 2 years, he's increasing the rent. Okay. He wants that property as his legacy for his own family. Yeah. But the poor person who is in there, who is being forced to be a perpetual tenant, has no hope. How do they build a house simultaneously paying rent that's going up
every other year?
Exactly. So you will be in there for 20, 30, 40 years trying to figure out how you're going to build a house. And when you're finally 60, 70, your house is finally built. True. Right. So how do we give private sector, who is trying, those incentives to pass those housing units on to the tenants, like a rent to own.
And you've not even mentioned mortgage. I mean, can you talk about housing without talking about mortgage for a place like Nigeria?
Mortgages are based on a society that has almost like guaranteed income. I can give you a mortgage because I know that you're going to be able to get a job to pay it. Right. But if you're in a system like ours where it's hard to find a job, how can I trust that if I give you a mortgage, you can actually pay it for that 20, 30 years? Meanwhile, Nigerians are able to pay their rent for 20, 30, 40 years. So obviously, they can pay a mortgage. Obviously, they have the money. They are finding the money to pay rent. So make it a mortgage. So give your average Nigerian
So is it the financial institutions that are not stepping up to the plate? Is that where the challenge is?
That's one.
And of course, you have the Federal Mortgage Bank.
We have that.
We have such institutions.
We have that.
Right.
But we are not ready yet to trust ourselves and really be intentional about solving the problem.
Yeah.
Because I pay rent, and I've been in Nigeria about 20 years, and I'm paying rent. I could have been paying a mortgage.
Right.
And the house I'm living in could be mine. So that is the story
in a place
of the
like
average.
Abuja, for example, a two-bedroom apartment goes for as high as 2 million in some cases.
In Abuja.
And not even in the city center. We're talking about the outskirts now.
A two-bedroom
so
is...
you just imagine.
Yes, you're talking...
So it's like a mirage for the average person who wants to own a home,
That's
but he
correct.
has to continue to pay rent.
To pay rent.
And, I mean...
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've talked about the way forward, really, but maybe you need to emphasize it again so that our handlers of our housing sector can actually,
yes, have those forums, have those town halls where university professors are coming, they are sharing what they are experiencing. You have consultants, you have engineers, architects, urban planners, those in finance. Bring people to the table and let them tell their professional side of the story. And then speak with the average Nigerian. What are they experiencing? And we can collect data that will point us in a good direction. And I will always say that a lot of the answers that we need are trapped in our cultures.
Right.
There was no such thing as a homeless, although there were no Nigerians 100 years ago.
Homeless African.
There was nothing like that. Because in our culture, we knew how to resolve that community challenge. Every man and woman was entitled, man, when the woman
wasn't even open to any kind of debate.
Yes.
Nmadili, thank you so much for your insights. Nmadili Okwumabua is Director of Community Planning and Design Initiative, Africa. Thank you very much.